He was playing blue-red control.
I mean, he was basically playing kind of a blue-red Delver deck, which is actually
but
right,
this is not Delver.
Yeah,
at the GP, he was playing a blue-red Delver deck. This deck is blue-red control with Argarbola, Snapcaster Mage, Lone Revenant, Concrete Sphinx, Frost Titan, Inferno Titan, 3 Cameos in the main board.
That Lone Revenant is a card that I have not ever seen in Standard. It's basically a creature that costs 2 blue and 3. It's got hexproof. If it attacks alone, you basically get to impulse for free. It's a really, really powerful card in a control deck. It's a little on the expensive side, but it does have hexproof, so it makes it really good against some strategies.
So, and Gindy is running your typical standard Delver deck, but he does have 3 Mirror Crusaders.
Yeah, so Gindy's running a deck that I saw Josh Ravitz play in the Invitational. This is a basic Delver deck, except it has 3 Mirror Crusaders, and instead of playing any equipment, it runs Spectral Flight. Spectral Flight is like particularly good against hard to target creatures, so it's really good on the Geist of St. Traphs, and really good on the Mirror Crusaders.
Absolutely.
So, my advantage at the moment, I would say...
Gindy.
It's probably with Gindy, though it really does help if Christian is on the play. Okay, but
both keep. Calcano is on the play.
Okay.
Island Go. Island Ponder.
A slower start definitely advantages Christian. His spells are like quite powerful. He has bonfires. His whip flares to control it. Like he has a lot of the more expensive creatures like Consecrated Sphinx and two different types of Titans.
And he scours Gindy, which causes him to lose the mana leak, which means now he is attempting to play that Delver and hope to flip it without knowing ahead of time. Another Ponder to set that up.
Gindy, I saw, had a Mental Misstep in his hand. Not that great in this matchup. Really only is able to counter Ponders and Pillars of Flame. Nothing, and Thought Scours. Nothing fantastic. Really, really kind of like average card to have in your hand at this point in the game.
All right. Gindy Ponders draws another island.
Yeah.
He does have a Cavern of Souls in his hand.
Gindy really needs to get some offense going here. It's the longer this game goes, the worse it gets for him. Christian Calcano has 4 Desperate Ravings in his deck, so he's able to kind of build a long-term advantage that way.
Delver Secret, Cavern of Souls naming Human for Delver Secrets.
Yeah, it could be naming Wizard.
Or Wizard. Meltback Dissipate.
Yeah. So
Calcano not letting him get any offense early out there. There's a Snapcaster Mage.
So Snapcaster likely targeting a Ponder. Yeah. It's funny, in this deck, Calcano is running 4 Sulphur Falls. He does name him.
Yes.
4 Sulphur Falls. The joke about that is actually he only ran 3 Sulphur Falls in his blue-red only deck at the GP Minnesota.
That's correct.
And a lot of people made a lot of jokes at his expense because like it almost seemed like a no-brainer to play the 4th Sulphur Falls.
Yep. That was a heck of a tournament for him. He ended up being Brad Nelson in the finals there when Brad Nelson was playing Nick Spagnola's design of he was playing Wormcoil Engine. He was playing all those big creatures coming from that.
Yeah, he was playing Mono Blue Grand Architect.
Yes, and played it quite well until he ran into Calcano. Did not get lucky enough. Okay.
Charles naming Human because obviously Mirror Crusader is also a human, but not a wizard. I'm so used to wizards being named because of Talrand. Draws on the planes, allows him to play.
Gut shot on that.
Yep, and he probably will play a Mirror Crusader the next turn. He's got that in his hand.
Swings in for 2 to take Calcano down to 14.
Yep, Mirror Crusader, very likely to come out. Mirror Crusader is a 2/2 double strike creature, protection from black and green.
Okay, he chooses to play another Snapcaster.
Okay, ponders. Needs to develop his board a little bit more.
Okay,
Get a few more threats.
I think that was a Phantasmal Image.
Yeah, Phantasmal Image as well as a Spectral Flight.
Yeah, that Spectral Flight is kind of big because that'll get him out of range of the Whip Flare. That'll get him out of range of the Pillar of Flame.
Yep.
I mean, he still have Bonfire of the Dam to deal with, but he only has one Dismember, and he already used it.
Yep.
So unless he Snapcasters it back in and costs himself another 4 life, those are his options right now. If he gets that, gets that enchantment put on his creature.
But Gindy doesn't seem to like those 3. He's gonna let it pass. He's gonna go for a different set of cards. Draws another land, Glacial Fortress. Passes to Christian. I think Christian might have a Bonfire. No,
just passes turns. Okay, another land for Gindy.
Approach a champion, mulling his options here.
Swings in for 4, takes him down to 12.
Calcano's gonna take it. He's gonna
just pass his turn.
Yep.
Which is actually not the worst play, because if he does Bonfires or Whip Flares, that means he doesn't lose 3 creatures. He just loses the 2.
Yeah, and if he has, I'm trying to see if he has a Restoration Angel. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like he has a Mental Misstep,
Gut Shot,
Mirror Crusader, Spectral Flight, and something else.
Okay, now let's see if Calcano comes out here with something big. Inferno Titan.
Inferno Titan. I believe that's going to resolve unless like one of the cards is a Snapcaster.
No, I don't think the Mental Misstep will help against Inferno Titan.
So there you go. So Gindy takes 1 and kills the 2 Snapcaster ranges. That is a big swing back. He really, really didn't have much of an offense going here, and has no like immediate way to like bounce or get rid of the.
Yeah, he probes to draw. Look at Calcano's hand. Draw another card, which he needs desperately to find some sort of answer.
So Calcano actually doesn't have a lot going. He only has 2 more lands and a Mana Leak, but he does have the have the Titan in play. Draws another land from that probe.
Now the Mirror Crusader will come out.
Yeah, it's likely the Mirror Crusader is going to come out, and he's going to put a Spectral Flight on it. What that will do is basically mean that Calcano shouldn't really attack, because they can trade those 2 for the Titan. Calcano, I think he draws a blue card. Ponder, yeah. There's a Mental Misstep. Actually, not a bad Mental Misstep right now, but he Mana Leaks because he knows that card is also running out of value very quickly.
I think you saw another Ponder there, I believe, if I'm not correct.
It's hard to tell. Christian is going to keep it, and still can't tell. Plays a mountain. Oh, he plays Pillar of Flame, and then finishes him off with the rest of the attacking trigger damage
from Inferno Titan.
Yeah, then pumping him 3 times, basically doing 7, 8, 9, 10 damage, putting Gindy to 5. Gindy really needs a Vapor Snag right now. Nope.
That's it.
No answer to the big daddy Titan.
Yeah, it just seems like Gindy ran out of gas there when he had a chance. Calcano managed to drop the Inferno Titan. Gindy, amazingly enough, did not have an answer to it. So now we saw what is in Mr. Calcano's hand. We go to Gindy's sideboard here.
Yeah, so Charles has a few options. He has 2 Swords of War and Peace, which will make him a little more resilient to the bonfires and the whip flares and the pillars. He also has an option of like Surgical Extraction. Surgical Extraction may give him some kind of range to kind of like get rid of the bonfires, but probably not good enough. Even though that Calcano is a control deck, he's not really leaning on any card other than bonfire maybe to like push it through. Phantasmal Image, I think, is a possibility. He has 3 of those in the in the sideboard, and probably will bring them out because Calcano has Consecrated Sphinx, Frost Titan, and Inferno Titan, so good targets for that.
Let's go back to Calcano's board now that he's seen what's going on here. Calcano has lots of options.
Yeah,
holy cow.
Yeah, some really good options here. He has 2 Combust, 100% coming in here.
Yes.
The Pillar of Flame probably coming in too. He has an option to another Frost Titan. I think on the draw he probably will not put in another Titan. Consecrated Sphinx, probably not also not putting that in on the draw, because like that card is like a little bit fragile to the opposing Phantasmal Images. He has a Batterskull. Actually, I think he might bring in the Batterskull. I've found that Batterskull is actually a pretty resilient threat.
Yes.
Allows you to gain a bit of life from like the early onslaught, and something that blue-red needs sometimes is just a little bit more time with life.
Now, when he talked about this deck with me ahead of time, he has 2 Mind Control in there. He actually wanted the ones that gave Infect, which seemed baffling to me at the time when he said that, but I mean, he was thrilled with the card choice. I don't think you're going to see it in this matchup, obviously, but quite interesting. He's got Caught to the Hammer, Jace Memory Adept, One Zealous Construct, the Smelt. It's like a bunch of one-ups with Karn in there also. A tremendous amount of diverse cards.
Yeah, so I mean, he does have like a really pretty good matchup against this this deck, because with the 2 Whip Flares and the Bonfire, it really puts a hurt on all of the creatures, including the ones that are hard to target usually, like Geist Sintraft. He has like 4 ways and 2 4 ways to really kind of like easily get rid of the untargetable creature. The card that probably is going to come out is probably the Frost Titan and the Consecrated Sphinx, probably the Lone Revenant. I think Desperate Ravings is likely to come out. That card is, while it's actually very good in the blue-red deck, it's a little slow against the faster beats.
Yeah, but otherwise, like I said, he's got a fairly decent deck. He can pretty much hang with this one. It'll be interesting to see with Gindy on the play now, if we can first turn Delver Secrets and then put the pressure on Calcano immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I would say matchup-wise, Christian's probably going to have a little bit more of the advantage here. Okay, Gindy keeps. He's just hard casting a Gitaxian Probe. Probably like not a terrible idea to. So the probe basically shows a Whip Flare, a Bonfire, a Tameo, a Snapcaster Mage, and an Augur Bolas. Actually, a very like solid hand to start with.
That Augur Bolas is really going to help him. It also provides the blocker against the Geist of Saint Traff because its toughness is a 3. So he looks at that. He's going to draw the extra card.
Traditionally, most people cast for free their Gitaxian Probe, like just in case they happen to draw another Delver. I think that Gindy realizes that it may come down to a little bit of life.
Okay, Calcano looks like he is going to keep this.
It's interesting that Gindy actually has a Gut Shot in his hand. Gut Shot is not terribly great in this matchup. I would expect the Gut Shots to come out, but he might not. He just may not have enough cards to bring in.
That's true. He also might. That's also a tough decision of which one he might bring up. But he also might be thinking for some reason Calcano does have Delver in there.
Yeah, it's possible he thinks there's Delver in there, like especially because he played it at the GP. It's also possible that he thinks that he needs to kill some phantasmal images.
Okay, will he play Snapcaster Mage to Getachean Probe to draw another card?
Yeah, I think he needs a Silvergill Adept right now. So
Okay.
this is
Gindy down to 18. It looks like Calcano added another land.
yeah, land is definitely. Calcano would be happy to draw land for at least the next 3 turns. Problem with obviously playing the Silvergill Adept is that he knows that the next play of Calcano is almost definitely going to be the Augur of Bolas.
I believe that's a Dissipate that Gindy picked up right there.
Yeah, actually that's really useful in the. Oh, that's very interesting that he decided to kill it rather than play the Augur of Bolas.
He just wanted to thread out of the way. I don't know.
Yeah.
So land Ponder here potentially.
In general, you would try and play a higher set of mana out there, just because you know you can always cast a pillar for 1 mana and still be able to keep up counter magic.
Okay, looks like Calcano drew a island there. It leaves him island, mountain in his hand for lands.
Yeah, that's really good, because I think one of the important things is going to be landing Tamiyo on time.
Okay, Augur.
So he's going to mana leak the Augur. He'll still play a land.
Okay, Gindy, a second Ponder.
Still very threat light here. Calcano is going to take over the game pretty quickly if there's no creature coming through.
Looks like on that first initial look, we got another Getachean Probe, which would give him potentially 2 in his hand. That gut shot, that's, I don't know. That gut shot's not really doing much of anything right now.
I think it looks like he's going to shuffle. You can tell usually because if you put down your hand, you'll need to pick up the deck.
Tap him. Does it look any better? No. So he does decide to keep it.
He's keeping.
Keeps a land.
So I wonder why he wants to keep the land here. Yeah, no, keeping up the Dissipate, probably playing the Probe to find out what's the likelihood of a threat next turn, and if it's a big threat, he'll keep up the Dissipate.
Snapcaster, Tamiyo, Whip Flare, Bonfire.
Yeah, not much of a threat for the next turn, so I think he may actually play the. He's going to tap out, probably expose the Mirren Crusader because he needs, and then force the Whip Flare to come out for Calcano.
Right. Calcano draws. Looked like. Now that would be interesting if you know that your opponent knows you have Whip Flare in your hand, and you're playing Mirror Crusader. I mean, he ought to know he's baiting him on that on purpose.
Yeah, sure, but the thing is, he's got to work out, how does this card basically line up to the threat? He doesn't have a really good way of killing the Mirror Crusader anyway, so yeah. It's the other option he could have done is he could have snapcasted the Pillar of Flame. I actually might have done that, just for the simple fact that it allows you to get a threat out to start hitting your opponent.
Well, now we show Snapcaster, Tamiyo, and Bonfire. He could definitely do that if he puts any sort of threat on there. Oh, yeah. Ponder.
Actually, I definitely would have played the Snapcaster and flashback the Pillar. But
what if next time he goes Snapcaster Ponder just to look at his deck to open up, knowing he has another one, so if he does play a threat, he can knock that out with a Snapcaster Pillar of Flame.
That's true. Okay, Gindy's really kind of being too slow for...
And he's done 6 damage to himself so far.
Calcano winning the race here. The next question is Christian going to play Tamiyo into the Dissipate? Gindy really hasn't played that many threats, and so
there's a threat.
See, this is the problem with casting the Whip Flare, because he actually drew a Geisterson Draft, which he does not have a great answer for now, except that he can obviously flash back the Whip Flare, but that means he loses his own Snapcaster.
Okay, that looks like a Consecrated Sphinx was the first card he drew.
Yeah, I think he drew another Tameo too. Tameo is like surprisingly solid in these control matchups. Sorry, control matchups.
Yeah. Does he for some reason keep the Tameo to maybe bait out a Dissipate?
Yeah, I think if he reads Gindy as having a counterspell of some sort, like keeping the Tameo is not a terrible idea. I mean, like it looks like he kept the card. It's very likely that if Gindy draws a land or plays a land this turn, he's going to.
That's 2 Phantasmal Image, a gut shot in his hand, along with the Geist.
Yeah, he might be pondering here. I think he's going to ponder after copying the Snapcaster. Copies the Snapcaster, plays the Ponder. Basically,
Vapor
another
Snag.
silver Vapor Snag and another Mental Misstep. Mental Misstep again, just a little bit like anemic in this matchup, but Gindy might not have enough cards to bring in. Just really doesn't have a lot of like enough cards to bring in to take out the weaker cards. It's kind of why I think that Christian has a much bigger advantage in this match.
Okay, Gindy drew a land off of that, played it.
Okay.
Does Calcano just swing to force him to block?
Yeah, I think the trade is pretty fine here. I don't think there's any reason why you wouldn't do it unless there's no kind of like free ways of them to killing. So he's passing, I believe. Oh no, he's counting. He's counting. Just trying to work out whether there's a mana leak. Okay.
Snapcaster Pillar.
Wow, that's very aggressive. Plays gut shot.
Wow, that takes Gindy down to 12. Okay, he still has that Dissipate in his hand. He has the Mental Misstep. He can now play. Well, he still can't play it because, well, he doesn't know that Calcano has another Snapcaster Mage in his hand.
No, he's played both.
Oh, okay, he has. Okay, so now he can play. Oh, is he going to image the Snapcaster again?
No, I think he's thinking of. He's basically thinking of playing the
Geist.
Playing the Geist, like expecting the bonfire from Calcano and then dissipating that bonfire. I think that's 2 cards. That's for how many cards in hand. It's really, I think, casting the Whip Flare much earlier instead of flashing back the pillar is really going to come back to bite him here. He did. The Whip Flare is really good at dealing with a Geist, and now he has much fewer ways of dealing with it. He actually only has 4 in his deck, and he's going to cast this one here.
Cameo?
No, he's probably going to cast Bonfire for 2, and he's going to get that countered. Now he only has 2 more answers. Granted, he doesn't have to attack, and also Charles is not going to just run it into the Snapcaster Mage.
Vapor Snag.
But I think, yeah, he's going to like go for the gut shot, kill the Snapcaster,
take himself down to 10, be able to swing and hit for 6. That'll take Calcano down to 14.
Now, Christian's in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, he does, I believe, have a Sphinx in his hand.
Thought Scour, Mental Misstep.
The problem with Sphinx is that Gindy has a Vapor Snag in his hand. I think he's just going to go for the Sphinx here, or he may. Oh no, maybe he doesn't have a Sphinx. He can't target the Geist. So I think he may kill off the Phantasmal Image. Yeah. Obviously, the problem here is that it's very likely, I think, that he's going to just kill the Tamiyo with the Geist.
Looks like he has another probe in his hand.
Yeah, I think he wants to probe just to make sure that there isn't anything going on here. So he did have the Sphinx.
And a pillar of flame.
Yeah,
There's nothing at the moment.
I think Calcano's really just put himself into a position, kind of for no reason, to have to have a big problem with this Geist. He's going to kill the Tamiyo. Maybe he'll just go to the head, but I think he should go to the Tamiyo. No, he's going to the head.
And that'll take him to 8.
I guess the Tamiyo is not really doing that much right now, but he can draw an extra card. Okay.
That will be met by Vapor Snag.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason for Gindy to allow him to draw any cards at this point. And it blocks. I think I would draw a card here. And if he draws a card, he probably should have done it beforehand. Yeah, he's going to draw a card. Very likely that he should have done that pre-combat, but it's okay. So
Vapor Snag puts Calcano down to 13.
He's actually lower than that too, because he's attacked twice with the. He's actually at 1. So a snap. There's a lot of cards that kill him right now. In fact, he needs something bigger than. He's just gonna. He loses unless he has 2 blockers. Or at Phantasmal Image.
Unless he has a Snapcaster Mage in his hand.
Yeah, he's got to have 2 blockers. Wow.
Well,
I think Calcano lost a game that he very, very much had in hand. Had he just held on the Whip Flare, rationed out his because the Whip Flare is really, really important. Obviously, trying to deal with the Geist of Saint Traft, just caused himself to lose to a card that he probably had covered.
You know, like I said, we talked about before. Was he setting him up? You know, to make sure he got that Whip Flare.
Yeah, I think with control decks, and this is no slight on Christian. They're very hard to play. And I'm sure he had reasons for the line he took. The really important thing is to ration your answers. Make sure that you're not kind of leaving yourself open to what could be the next draw for your opponent. Geist of Saint Traft is obviously one of those cards that is in a lot of Delver decks, so he should have probably defended against it. That being said, he probably was defending against a different deck. Christian's a really good player. He's won Grand Prix. He's won a Grand Prix before. Didn't do so well in the Invitational, but seems to be doing really well here.
And you say this is SCG Live. We are at the Star City Games Open Series in Atlanta, Georgia. We are watching round 8 of 10 of the Standard Open. You are watching Christian Calcano on the left running Blue-Red Control, not Blue-Red Delver, Blue-Red Control. And he is currently 1-1 with Charles Gindy, who is running Blue-White Delver, but not the standard Blue-White Delver. It's Blue-White Delver with Mirror Castrator in it.
And Spectral Flight.
And Spectral Flight.
I think Spectral Flight is a huge, huge deal. If I was to play Delver right now, I think the Spectral Flight version is a good place to be. It's much quicker than the equipment-based ones. It really does kind of make Geist of Saint Traft a killer very, very quickly.
Evasion is a very powerful thing when you're sitting a 4/4 flyer, and then the additional 4/4 flyer comes with it.
Yeah, no, that game ends in 2 turns basically. You don't need much more.
No. I was looking over Calcano's deck list, and I know it doesn't seem to fit what Calcano's playing, but I almost thought about Thundermaw in there maybe as an option, just because it taps down all the flyers, and it's a 5/5 haste, and I know he needs card drawing with the Consecrated Sphinx, and I understand what he's looking for by putting a second Frost Titan in. He did the same thing at GP Minnesota. I don't know. I'm just thinking of options for him to, you know, maybe get out there, tap down his opponent, because I mean he is going to play a lot of decks like Delve. They're going to have a lot of things in the air.
Yeah, the thing with Thundermaw Hellkite is it's a racing card.
Yeah.
It's very good when you have a board presence. Calcano doesn't really have a way of building up a board presence. Thundermaw Hellkite is a fine threat. So very 5/5 fly for 5, very fast threat, but is much better in conjunction with like a lot of creatures in play, which he won't have.
Okay, turn 1, Calcano, land, go. Charles Gindy, land, taps it.
Has again hard cast the.
Okay, 4 land, Whip Flare, Mana Leak, and Desperate Ravings. He did not take out Desperate Ravings.
Yeah, no. So he decided to keep it. 3 land and 3 spells. Like Desperate Ravings is actually like pretty good in this situation because he doesn't really. He can sit on the Mana Leak, and you know, should Gindy basically not have anything, he can Ravings end the turn.
Pass go. Calcano will play another land here. Probably his blue-red one, correct?
Yep. So he's just going to pass, basically sit on that Mana Leak, and then like build up some advantage with the.
Another hard. Okay.
So Bunder's fine. Gindy's playing this like very slow amount of threats. I mean, he was basically all in on the Geistes Draft last game. Only way that he was able to like pile on a lot of damage in a short amount of time.
Seems happy with that. Keeps Snapcaster Mage. Again, Snapcaster Ponder.
Yeah.
So very good combination.
So it's going to be Desperate Ravings. Draws 2 cards. Oop, almost the 3rd card. Need to get a dice to work out. I don't think a single dice is going to work. I think he has more than 8 cards. You can't. No, you can't do it. You're going to just have to do it randomly. There's no way that.
You this one and that one. Lay them out and let them pick it out. 5. Okay.
Mountain. If you had a D10, you could probably do it, but you can't really do it with a
2d6.
Yeah, 2d6 doesn't quite work. 1d6 doesn't work for sure. So he loses the mountain, like keeps the fairly important Whip Flare. I would still go for the Ravings, even though there was a chance of losing it to the losing a Whip Flare to it.
Okay. Again, this is a potential Snapcaster Ponder situation.
I think if he's a little threat light, it's a fine thing to do, and he does go for that.
If he does drop the Mana Leak, that sets him up next turn for Geistes Draft to come in there. But then, you know, he hopes that maybe he does the Desperate Ravings to give up the Whip Flare.
Yeah, so I think Mana Leaking there is pretty good here. I mean, you basically stop the 2 for 1. His deck kind of wants to deal with all the creatures in play, so I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't think the Geistes Draft is too much of a threat, considering that he already has a Whip Flare in hand. And I don't think he has a Geist in hand right now, but so he plays it, finds out, needs a little bit more information. Nothing but red cards. 4 different red cards. There's a Pillar of Flame, Whip Flare, Inferno Titan, Bonfire.
And he is at least 2 turns away from getting to that Inferno Titan. Bonfire, another opportunity to sweep the board. Whip Flare to sweep the board. And Pillar.
Yeah, no, I think Calcano does have most of the answers kind of like that he needs against Gindy's deck. What he does really need to know is whether he can easily cast the Inferno Titan with impunity.
Here we go again.
Okay, so
Mirror Crusader.
basically just burn bait. I mean, there's almost zero chance that he does not cast a Pillar of Flame right on it right now. My thinking is Gindy actually has a mental misstep to protect it, forcing him to use like a better card on it.
What if instead of using the Pillar, he uses the Bonfire on it?
That's even. I think it's kind of like.
He's going to Desperate Ravings right now.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. Very much you could lose a very important card here.
They're a little bit redundant, so I don't think it's a big deal. I lose the Snapcaster. It's not too bad. I actually don't think that's the worst card to lose. He really wants to draw that those lands so he can play the Titan on the right turn. That's the reason he flashed it back. It doesn't want to miss a land drop. That's super important in this style of deck.
Okay, Calcano plays his 5th land.
Calcano really has to think what's up here. Like, must assume that there's going to be a mental misstep, but does it make sense to play something that costs 2 or X to deal with that? Probably not. It's probably worth like at least forcing him to play the misstep, because it's always going to be there. It's not going to change.
All right, here he's going to play the pillar.
Yep. Look, no misstep.
No misstep. Okay. We know he has no land. Snapcaster Mage available again.
Yeah, he does have a Geist, so he. But the problem is Gindy really knows that he has to make sure the Geist does not die to the 2 sweep spells of Christian Calcano. So he can't really just run it out there, even if he doesn't think there's a counter spell.
Scours to draw a card.
Okay.
Gindy just passes.
I think he drew a Lone Revenant. No, I don't think it's a Lone Revenant. Okay, so he declines to play the Titan, basically like daring Gindy to basically continue the stalemate, which is not great for him.
No, because now it gives Gindy an opportunity to get back in this. And Snapcaster
just wants to put out a little threat there. Wants to find out, like, you know, if Calcano wants to force through.
Now, does he hard cast Gitaxian Probe, knowing he has enough mana left for Dissipate, or does he take the Ponder to go for 3 cards?
Oh, I think you go through 3 cards at this point. I think you. So he's got a mana leak, and this is actually like an interesting thing. Like, basically, what the mana leak does is it either forces Gindy to just let it go, or opens him up to the Titan that he knows is his hand.
Yes.
So it's very possible that Gindy is just going to like pay for it, accept the Titan, and then like maybe Vapor Snag it or something like that. But if he doesn't really have the Vapor Snag, he's probably not going to. He's just going to let it get countered.
Look through his graveyard quick. All right.
So he's still thinking about whether to pay for the mana leak. I think it looks like he's like indicating that he's going to pay the 3. If he pays the 3, he knows for sure the opening for the Titan is going to be in there.
And if the Titan comes out, it's going to immediately kill a Snapcaster Mage.
Yep.
Okay.
Pays for it, but he knows he is able to replace it.
Ponders.
Gets a sword, a Gitaxian Probe, and something else.
Oh, there's the sword.
I think he's going to keep it because like the sword is super important for, like, basically it allows him, if he plays the sword in the next turn, he can now like play the Geist and equip at the same turn to protect it against the red sweeping spells.
All right.
Titan's coming down. I really doubt that it's anything but Titan right now.
All right, taps out. There it is. 1 to that, 2 to Gindy, takes him to 18.
As advertised, Titan comes down, but he does have. Oh wow, he actually has an image and a
sword.
Or image and a Vapor Snag.
Yep. Nice.
Now the one thing is, I think that Gindy actually has a Dissipate in his hand.
Yes, now he has the mana set up for it right now.
So this is like, again, kind of like looking in a really commanding position, but like just getting himself into a little bit of trouble.
Snapcaster?
Yeah, probably going for the Pillar of Flame to target.
I like that Calcano didn't immediately just come back with the Titan right away.
Yeah, I think he has to respect the Dissipate at this point.
Yeah, and he showed a little restraint by doing that, and that was a really good job of Calcano. A lot of times you would see people overreact to that and just go, I'm going to play my guy right back at you.
Yeah. So,
okay,
Augur of Bolas. The Combust. Combust is like really good defense. But now I'm almost certain there's going to be a sword coming down for Gindy, which really kind of like helps him out.
Okay, sword, Gitaxian Probe.
He probably plays the Gitaxian Probe to find out whether he needs to worry about anything.
Yep.
No, it looks like he might just be playing his sword. What he's going to do, I think, he's going to save the Gitaxian Probe for next turn, so he knows whether he can. Oh wow, that is interesting.
Still has Dissipate available.
Yeah, he has Dissipate available, but like he actually opens himself to a land here because like he goes Dissipate and to the Whip Flare, and then Bonfire actually gets him, or vice versa. It's really I don't know about like not playing the sword there.
Okay, he's gonna swing. It'll get Gut Shot, take Gindy to 16.
If Calcano has a land, it's going to be... So he's going to Whip Flare. It's going to get
Dissipated.
absolutely dissipated right here. I mean, provided I haven't misread his hand.
Oh, he lets it go?
So I had a suspicion that it wasn't a dissipate in his hand.
Okay. Why
Oh, he draws it.
Count on an attack with
Oh,
he didn't attack with Augur Bolus. And it was in play from last turn. Okay.
no, he attacked before that. Like he got gunshot.
Oh, okay. Sword of War and Peace is out. Calcano has no answers for that.
Yeah, like really troublesome card for Calcano, especially because Gindy had a
Hits for 1, drops an Evolving Wilds.
had a Geist in hand. Oh, also Mirror Crusader. Mirror Crusader might be a better card to equip right now. I would be tempted to just play Mirror Crusader here.
Taxing Probe.
Okay, wow. See, the thing with the Mirror Crusader, he does have Bonfire. So he actually has both creatures covered. He can actually combust the Mirror Crusader, and he can image the Geistersen Draft. So both the problem creatures are like well dealt with.
He still has Lone Reverend in his hand.
Yeah, he kept in the Lone Revenant, which is like, I think I'm surprised about, though he doesn't have that many threats in his deck, so maybe he just needed to keep a few more threats. Gindy in a little bit of a tight spot now because like both his key threats are not particularly good against Calcano's hand.
Okay. All right, cracks Evolving Wilds.
Yeah, so Gindy really forced a pass because he knows he can't land any of these creatures right now. It's a very tight game here, but Calcano looks like he might be turning the corner right here.
He can get to that 8th land. He can play the Lone Reverend, but he doesn't know he's playing potentially out of range of Mana Leak, but it doesn't matter. He does have Dissipate.
Yeah, I think he's okay to play the Revenant into. Yeah, he's going to play Revenant into the open board. I think. Reads it. I mean, there's not many people who play this card. I mean, this card has not seen a lot of play. Basically, it's hexproof. When you attacks, if you have no other creatures, it basically does an impulse effect.
And there's the Dissipate on that.
Yeah, but he does realize that he's going to have trouble.
Okay, Snapcaster.
So the one thing this is interesting, he's basically baiting him with the wow. Now
I don't know if I agree with that Combust.
Yeah, that Combust is like really, it's like he just combusted way too quick for my liking. What this does allow now is it allows the Mirror Crusader to like wear the sword, and that's going to be really troublesome for Calcano.
Or does he now slam the Frost Titan?
I think he. Inferno Titan?
Inferno Titan, I meant?
Yeah, he basically has to. Like, is likely going to try and race. What's going to happen is here, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to play Mirren Crusader, equip it.
And now just got a Cavern of Souls, which will allow him to name human to make his creatures uncounterable, or the majority of his creatures uncounterable.
Yeah, so probably not doing too much right here, but it does give him an extra mana sometimes, which is actually not irrelevant. So now he equips it. Calcano now facing a double striking Prot white, Prot red creature. Prot red being the Tamio. Tamio is like a fantastic card to have right here. Really, really backbreaking. Oh wow.
Gindy offers the hand. Congratulations to Christian Calcano winning round 8 of the Standard Open of the SCG Open Series in Atlanta, Georgia.